Not a bad gig to be calling ball plays at the University of Florida.
$2.1 million to call plays in the SEC. And these guys want to know why these fans come after them the way they do. Jeez Louise. Hey, I'll tell you what. You could call me anything you want to call me if you pay me that for a year, Kevin. How about you?
John Summerall's a breath of fresh air because so far when we've dealt with him, he's basically said, hey, look, if football stinks, I can take it. You know what I mean? You can call me out, whatever. I'm the one that's in charge here. He's definitely not as thin-skinned as his predecessor. Let's put it that way.
Hey, you're my man, Kev. Much love to you. I appreciate you. If the listeners want to follow along or read your work, how do they do so? And thanks for coming on with us today.
Yeah, Gatorsports.com, Gainesville.com, and at Kevin Brockway G1 on Twitter.
Thank you. Great talking to you, Kev.
All right, thank you, Tone.
Bri, great instincts getting him. That was a great segment. People were piling on me saying, what are we doing talking to this guy from Florida? You myopic fools. On the chat. Hang in there. I let Jesse rob this train, brah. I know what I'm doing. And Brian knows what he's doing. We know what we're doing. You're in good hands. And for the clown in Maryville, Joe in Mary, whatever your name is, hey, Joe, when Kevin got cut off, you saying that we have Mickey Mouse equipment, you're gone for the day, bro. You're in 24-hour timeout. And if you come back in here tomorrow with that attitude, I'll stick you in another 24. I'll stick you in 48-hour, 72-hour timeout, bro. In fact, I might take your car keys from you. Show some respect, man. Show some respect. And a couple of you that are chirping at me on this Chaz Coleman thing about how, well, this is not state run and the way you're acting like we're dumb. What are you talking about? I'm telling you what I believe is going on. And because it's not what you want to hear, or I'm not blaming Josh Heupel doing the tricks you want me to do, let me tell you something. You think you're going to shame me into something? Are you out of your mind? You follow this show? You think you're going to come in here and, really, Tony, really? Who's the guy that told you about Boo Carter last year when it was unfolding? I'm not afraid to jump in there when it's time to jump in. I don't compare this guy to Boo Carter. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I don't blame Josh Heupel for it. Now, if it gets protracted and it drags into a 6-week thing and it becomes a distraction, then we blame Josh Heupel. In the meantime, I know William Patterson's going to talk about this because he had some great stuff on the socials. Here he is. Here's a playbook of William Patterson.
You're listening to... And here we go. Live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios, it's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio with John Reed, Kayla DeBusk, and Josh Lovett. I'm William Patterson. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine Thursday from Knoxville, Tennessee. And we've got plenty to cover over the next 2 hours, including talking about how Tennessee football might have a culture problem. Chaz Coleman dominating national headlines and local headlines as this seems to be another fallout with a player. We've had a number of these in Knoxville as of late. Nico Iamaleava, Boo Carter, now Chaz Coleman. Is there an underlying issue? Is there something behind the curtains that is actually going down that is resulting in all of these problems? We'll discuss that. We'll also talk Tennessee baseball. Josh Elander met with the media yesterday. We covered a couple of topics, but he weighed in on Evan Blanco and the decision behind him being the starter for the matchup against East Carolina on Friday. Also discussed Reese Chapman, and we'll continue to get you ready for Tennessee in the postseason. And then a little bit later on, we've also got some Lady Vols softball to discuss because they began their journey in the Women's College World Series later on today, a 2:30 p.m. Eastern time start up against Texas. We'll talk about what to expect from this Lady Vols group, and is this the team that could win it all after 10 appearances in Oklahoma City? Is this the time they can finally hoist the trophy? In hour two, we'll talk about those game times that were released yesterday for Tennessee football, just the first 3 games, but it gives us a little bit of a glimpse of what the early season looks like for the Volunteers. And that second game, a night game in Georgia Tech. That could be an interesting one for a young quarterback. We'll discuss the dynamics of that. Also get you ready for the NBA playoffs. Game 6 tonight between the Thunder and Spurs. Can San Antonio stay alive and extend it to a Game 7? One of the best words and phrases in sports. We'll talk about that and also wrap it up with our final thoughts. But plenty to cover on a Thursday. So happy you're here. If you're on that YouTube live stream, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any Fan Run content this time of year. And before we get into the rest of the show, let's welcome in the rest of the crew, beginning with Caleb. Caleb, how are you on this Thursday?
Feeling good. Excited to get back in here, talk about some baseball, talk about a little football. We had those game times drop a little bit after our show ended yesterday, so excited to talk about those. Not super excited about some of the times that got dropped and what we're going to end up playing, but nonetheless, we'll play them anyway. So excited to get rolling.
Yeah, good stuff. JR filling in on the board today. He said he doesn't really want to talk, but if he can give a thumbs up or maybe he wants to talk, we'll see. John, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm teaching over here. I've dusted out. I got my glasses, my professor hat, and I'm trying to train the next generation of stars.
Wow, look at that. John giving back to his community. Got to love to see that. We appreciate him filling in for Brett Hullander today. Josh, to you, you're the young grasshopper back there behind the production board, learning from the wings of John Reed. How are you on this Thursday?
I'm doing great, William. A little sore. Hit the gym a little too hard yesterday, but ready to soak up some information from old JR here and talk about some ball.
Is that old JR or old JR?
No, it's old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm about to say, just keeping everyone on their feet, right? All right, let's.
Wrestling fan. He doesn't know who good old JR is.
I absolutely know who.
No. I'm saying William.
I got you.
William does it.
Yeah, I don't. I know the Pauls are in it though.
Just one of them.
Yeah, just one of them. But they're WWE and all that. They're just bringing in a bunch of content creators these days to do wrestling stunts. Am I wrong in that?
Not necessarily. I mean, they're doing a little bit more than that, but a lot of people don't like it, especially the purist of the wrestling fans. They're very opposed to all that stuff.
I'm a Travis Scott fan. I turned on the TV last year. Travis Scott was in there wrestling.
Yeah, and that was terrible.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Yeah. Well,
Lil Yachty has a full-time gig right now.
Oh,
in
good.
wrestling as well.
Good.
He's a manager.
Look at WWE evolving. Let's go get content creators and streamers.
I just can't do the whole Logan Paul stuff. Not a big Logan Paul guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into our first things first topic, and that is a culture problem possibly brewing inside the locker room of Tennessee football as Tennessee transfer defensive end Chaz Coleman's status with the Vols is currently up in the air, as Coleman was supposed to arrive in Knoxville no later than Wednesday this week, but obviously yesterday came and went. You saw On3's Pete Nakos put out maybe not a bombshell if you're here in Knoxville, but at least a national story picking up on it that shows the seriousness of the issue for Tennessee, and reports that wasn't there. Voluntary workouts are in process. Coleman nowhere to be found. This is what Brent Hubbs of VolQuest had to say earlier this morning in an article he wrote. Quote, Tennessee spoke with those in Coleman's camp as recently as Tuesday and have spoke to Coleman prior to that. However, Wednesday came and went with silence, and sources with direct knowledge of the situation told VolQuest that information. So now it's kind of in limbo. You don't know what to expect at this point. And yesterday online, as rabid fans usually do, they go and find some nicks and crannies. And for Chaz Coleman, that was an Instagram story that he posted back in May, early May 10th exactly. And it was kind of a money spread picture, all kind of flashing his cash, a sign of maybe a lucrative NIL deal that he signed with the Volunteers. So he posted that. It was on one of his highlights on Instagram. Someone found that, put it online. It started trending everywhere, and now Chaz Coleman doesn't have an Instagram. He deactivated it yesterday afternoon. So a lot of twists and turns in this story, and what I make of the most recent developments is, at the end of the day, he's either a part of the team and going to play and going to practice, or we're going to continue to play games. And if I'm Josh Heupel, I'm tired of playing games. You just did that with Nico Iamaleava 15 months ago. You just did that with Boo Carter last summer and really throughout the season. And now you've got another situation here with Chaz Coleman. We'll talk more about the overall culture vibe I get from this program at this point in time here in a moment. But just in the specific case of Chaz Coleman, do you want to play? Are you going to be a part of the team? Are you going to go to voluntary workouts? I get it. There are mental health issues tied to this. There is some homesickness tied to this. And I'm not making light or dismissing any of those issues or any of those problems. Everyone deals with that. But at the end of the day, if you sign a contract, if you commit to something, you have to go through with that. Here at work, if I sign a contract or if I commit to work here and I don't show up for months on end, there's probably going to be an issue. If I am signed to do something, that means I am committed to that and I need to attend. Homesickness, mental, all that. I get it. I understand it. But there are ways to approach it. Hey, I'm not myself right now. Let's communicate that and have everyone on the same understanding. So where we don't have to have the national media pick up a story, where the Knoxville reporters are now not having to change their tune of what's really going down. So I know Josh Heupel has kind of been coach speaky about it, and as he always is, not sounding like it's a dramatic thing. But I think now that you're starting to see other people across the country discuss it, and you've started to see people change their tune here in Knoxville, that tells me things are heading in a different direction, and one that might not see Chaz Coleman suit up in a Tennessee uniform this year. To you, Caleb, what do you make of the most recent developments of this story? Yesterday, as we were about midway through the show, Pete Nakos comes out with that article, then Knox News and all these other Knoxville area outlets do as well. And then you get the Instagram that is shut down. What have you made of all these recent developments in the last 24 hours surrounding Coleman?
Yeah, I think anytime you have the national media picking up a story about your team and it's not exactly the most positive thing, it's probably one of the worst things that can happen, especially at this point in the season. I mean, we're at the end of May and we're having to deal with this kind of stuff. Like it's especially with the Instagram post. On my tune about it yesterday, I was very, very supportive of Chaz. It was very understanding the mental health aspects of it. But after seeing some of these things come out, it kind of makes you feel like maybe he's kind of gaming the system a little bit. Because even last year, I know he was hurt last year. He didn't play a lot last year either. He's not played many snaps. I think you've said he's only played 144 total snaps. So this kid's not played a lot of college football wherever he's been. So it rubs you the wrong way. I mean, seeing that Instagram post yesterday, it literally looks exactly like something Boo Carter posted while he was here. All these kids do this stuff. All these kids post money spreads. All these kids post money and post pictures of them in front of cars and stuff. But it's just when a kid's not going to voluntary workouts and these are the type of excuses he's using, then he's posting stuff like this. It rubs you the wrong way. It's not stuff that you want to deal with. It's stuff that we've dealt with numerous times in the past with multiple different guys. And like you said, Will, I'm tired of it. I'm tired with dealing with stuff like this in the off season. Like, this is not stuff that winning football programs deal with year in and year out. And it's just, it rubs you the wrong way and you're tired of it.
We appreciate those comments on the YouTube chat. We'll get to those here in just a bit. But going to you, Josh, again, we talked about it yesterday. You've been in a locker room environment for multiple years playing Division I football. You understand what these dynamics are like. And when you've got one of your teammates, especially one of your teammates that is supposed to be one of the better players on the team, that sets an example for everyone else. And, we'll talk about the culture here in a moment, but just the most recent developments coming out, in addition to what that vibe is like in a locker room, watching that, because these players are seeing the same thing we are. They see the Pete Nakos report. They see the Instagram post from, multiple different outlets talking about it. They see this stuff. How does that affect how a locker room views a said player?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty frustrating when you're in a locker room and that's going on. And I think you said it just a second ago, there's better and probably more mature ways he can approach it. You've got to lean on your teammates and your coaches and the people in that building in this scenario, because if he truly is going through some homesickness stuff, it's a struggle. We had guys go through that, but you see your team and those guys in the building more than your actual family. They are your family to a certain extent at that point. So you got to lean on those guys to help get you through the tough situation. And that's where I'm just like, why are we not doing that? It just makes me feel like, again, he's either not all in or he regretted his decision, because if he's truly was bought in to the University of Tennessee, he would lean on his quote unquote new family to help him get through that situation. That's the frustrating part to me, because it feels like it's not just a homesickness thing or a vertigo thing. It seems more like he's kind of regretting the decision.
Yeah. Well, during the Big Orange Caravan, Josh Heupel was asked about the Chaz Coleman situation. He indicated that the Vols were being patient with him as he worked through some issues, and that was kind of reiterated once again on Wednesday when Heupel was asked directly by media members in Destin, Florida, about the situation. Heupel obviously there for the SEC spring meetings that have been taking place this week. And this is what Heupel had to say, quote, "Chaz has been dealing with some things, and we're here to support him. We'll continue to go through that process." Again, very coach speaky, as it always is from Heupel, but the specifics of this issue are kind of unknown. And that's the interesting thing about it. That's why it's so confusing for many Vol fans. And even as a, show host and reporter and a guy that's got connections to players and stuff like that, there is a lot of confusion for me, myself, of what really is going down. And from the understanding, this again comes from Brent Hubb's article this morning, Coleman has been missing from the practice field and the weight room since the second week of spring practice. Coleman spent a good bit of time with defensive line coach Ronnie Gardner in late April and early May before he went home to Ohio after final exams. Participated as well in an FCA event with some teammates in early May as well. But after that, it's kind of been radio silence from Coleman and his team in terms of when he's coming back to Knoxville. And as I discussed yesterday, I know the homesickness and mental parts of this story are there, but I will say Tennessee has done everything in their power to try and mend those issues. Mend that homesickness, maybe bring a family member to Knoxville, whatever it may be. Tennessee's gone the extra mile to make sure that this kid is comfortable, and there still seems to be a disconnect. And that's where we start to encroach on a bit of a culture problem and how you're recruiting these guys and what's really going down inside the locker room to even allow this type of stuff to happen. Now, we discussed it briefly yesterday at the end of the show, but I wanted to reiterate it today because I think it is something to think about. Think of the Josh Heupel era, right? 2021, first year on campus, had a little bit of success, had an interesting season. No one really could have expected what was about to happen in 2022. But why was the season derailed that season? Well, obviously you lose to South Carolina on the road. There are the conspiracy theories about Connor Stallion's involvement with that. Obviously, Hendon Hooker gets hurt. But things were off from the beginning of that game. And a lot of the talk after that matchup and the weeks to follow, well, Jeremy Banks, one of the team leaders defensively, got up in the face of another quarterback, and you had a little bit of an unraveling there. So that was a culture problem. That was a locker room issue. Now, the validity of it, still up for debate. Was that the reason why Tennessee lost? No, you shouldn't have given up 63 points to the Gamecocks. But regardless, there was some stuff brewing that week. We'll continue down the line. Nico Iamaleava, no quarterback, no team has ever had to go through what Nico Iamaleava and Tennessee went through the offseason prior to last year. No one. Guy gets up and leaves before the spring game. It's a knockout, drag-out thing that lasts 2 to 3 weeks. No one's ever dealt with that. But why did it get to that point? Boo Carter, here in the summer, okay, he's in a little bit of trouble. There's some things maybe not aligning. And then you give him the second chance to play, and he doesn't really take advantage of that. Almost felt like he didn't take it seriously. On those punt returns against Oklahoma, it felt like he was purposely not returning them when he had plenty of room. He then a couple of weeks later wasn't even on the roster any longer. So you've had those 2 incidents. You've had the one in 2022. Now you've got this. And these 3 player-specific incidents are all 15 months apart, or all in the same 15-month period, I should say. So what I'm starting to ask is there a culture issue? Josh Heupel is a player's coach, but is he letting players and those relationships with those players start to overtake the locker room? I think Derek Owings is going to be a big help in that. A guy that's straightforward, tough-minded, championship guy. He doesn't put up with a bunch of BS. And former players that I've talked to that were on the prior teams that had a different strength and conditioning coach, they tell me, yeah, Owings is going to make an immediate difference. What we were doing was not held up to an SEC standard. So if that has been going on, and that was going on, what other things and what other dynamics inside the Tennessee locker room are not up to an SEC standard? And 3 different incidents, all in a 15-month period, having the same type of basis. Player is upset, player is frustrated, player is not showing up. How does that happen in a 15-month span? That's what makes me question, is the player-coach type of identity now becoming more of an issue than we had anticipated. It's great for recruiting. It's great to keep guys around. But sometimes if you give those players too much leeway and they don't have an actual leader, a guy that's going to keep them accountable, you can have stuff like this happen. And for Tennessee, now it's the 3rd time in 15 months. What do you make of that basis there, Caleb? Because I'm not calling Josh Heupel out. I'm not saying that he is deliberately allowing this, but it's kind of concerning that you've had 3 type of incidents like this in the last 15 months. And there are some things behind the scenes that I think need to come to light.
Yeah, I think it's not even just that. It's everything you mentioned, and it's also how many times have we come out for, whether it's a road game or it's a game in Mississippi State or at Arkansas or something like, or a road Bama game where we just come out and we look so flat and not ready to play, or like we play a great first half, we go into the locker room and then we come out and we just don't score a point, or we just come out not the same team at all. Like it's coming out not looking ready to play. It's just guys that don't look bought in, guys that aren't like, it doesn't look like, at times it does, and then at times it doesn't look like an SEC football program that wants to compete for national titles. Like watching us versus watching some of these other teams that compete every year, like a Georgia or an Ohio State. These teams don't come out not ready to play. These teams come out ready to play every week, and they hold themselves to the same standard. I mean, just listen to Kurt Signetti talk about his Indiana team. It kind of boggles your mind a little bit about how we've looked at times, and what is this, year 5 or 6 under Heupel, and like, I know Signetti and Indiana, it's an outlier. You can't really compare yourselves to them, but listening to Signetti talk about the way he prepares and the way he goes about his business with his team, it doesn't hold a candle. Like Heupel doesn't hold a candle to what some of the things that team does and how they look sometimes. And it kind of frustrates you a little bit, because like you alluded to with everything you said, with the issues we've dealt with players, and then coming out looking flat, not ready to play, not looking bought in. It frustrates you at times, because you love Heupel as a coach. You love him as a guy. You love what he's done with the team. I mean, we've beat Alabama twice in a row at home. We just beat Florida in the Swamp, and we've exercised so many demons under Heupel, and it just feels like we're just banging gears trying to get into 5th and 6th. Like we're in 3rd and 4th. We're driving, but we just can't get into that next gear, and it frustrates you.
Well, I think when you mention Kirk Signetti, a lot of people these days now hold him as a poster child of what every other team should look like, considering he gets to Indiana, and in 2 seasons he is able to orchestrate a 16-0 year and a national title, in addition to a Big Ten title, all of which Indiana had never accomplished before. I think it's unfair to hold everyone to that standard. But what I will say about Cignetti, it's a kind of a niche, specific story here. But about 2 months ago, Indiana started their spring practice. Nick Marsh, a transfer from Michigan State, one of the most highly coveted guys in the portal, a wide receiver, showed up to practice with gold cleats on. Gold cleats. Now, it doesn't sound like a big deal. But Cignetti told one of his best players in the transfer portal, one of the best players on the team, to take that crap off. And that it wasn't Michigan State any longer. What is that? That's setting a standard. That's setting an example. Doesn't matter if you're the best player on the team or a guy that will never see the field. It's setting a standard of you can't wear gold cleats. We're all a part of the same team. We're not going to be flashy. We're not going to be about me. And I think that's the great thing about this Indiana team this past year. It was about the team. Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman Trophy, was the star of the show throughout the year. And that kid's humble as can be. It wasn't about me. And I'm not saying that Josh Heupel allows that to go down, but that's an example of a standard being held and a standard being in place universally across the entire roster. Let's say a third-string defensive back was doing what Chaz Coleman's doing right now. That guy's not on the team anymore. We're not talking about him because it's handled and it's done. So the leeway for your star players should not be any different than the guys that don't play. If you want to set a good culture, obviously you want a Chaz Coleman to play over a third-string DB. It's going to help your team. It's going to help you win more games. But by delaying this process and by just trying to work with guys here and there, it didn't work out with Boo Carter, and it didn't work out with Nico Iamaleava. Boo Carter is probably the best example of it because the guy stayed around. And it didn't work last year, if we're putting it that way. So I want Chaz Coleman to be here. I want it to work out. He's a great young player. But we're not going to bend the rules just because he's a five-star transfer. We're not going to bend the rules and not apply them to every other guy on the roster because, he's Chaz Coleman. And I think that's my main argument here. I understand there are things going on. It's a part of life. But also, if you make a commitment to something, you've either got to communicate the right way or show up. Voluntary workouts, man. Show up. Just show up. And if I were homesick, if I were feeling bad mentally, I'd want to be around those that I feel closest with. And I know this is a new team for them, but that's how you form those relationships. Those are the same guys that are in the same spot you were in. You got kids from California, Nevada, Florida, all over the map. They're far away from home too. Why not be in a spot similar to those guys and go through the same process of what it is to be on a team, right? So Coleman was one of the most prioritized transfers in the portal, period. Was the third-rated transfer by position, ninth-ranked portal player overall, despite only playing 144 snaps at Penn State last year. Had 8 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 fumble recoveries, in addition to a sack. And as we see some good comments on here, Jordan Norman's been tossed around as well as a guy that could possibly fill in and make an impact. But Josh, to you, how big of a loss would Coleman be if he does not suit up for this Volunteers roster?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a decent-sized loss, and I think more so with the depth part of it, right? Because, I mean, we don't have a star edge rusher. We lost a lot of our really good edge rushers. That would be the most concerning part to me is the depth. Obviously, we want him to play. He's an uber-talented kid. I've watched some film on him. He flashed at Penn State hard. I do really like Jordan Norman from Tulane. I think he's going to be a really good player. And if you can have both of them coming off the edge on different sides, that could completely change the game as opposed to just having one of them.
Yeah. All right, what we're going to do here is we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll read these comments online about Chaz Coleman. Want to give you guys the opportunity to give your opinion as well. Also, we got a couple of phone calls as well. So when we come back, we'll continue the Chaz Coleman conversation. Stay right here. It's The Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
What kind of day is it? It's a White Claw day. Grab a pack, grab your friends. Everything else in life can wait. Your friends shouldn't. Let's go. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Ball fans, reimagine your home at Broadway Carpets and Flooring for any remodeling or building needs. With a variety of carpets, rugs, hardwood, vinyl, and stone, Broadway has all the flooring and installation options you're looking for, including pet-resistant products like Pet Perfect Carpet from Shaw Floors. Visit their showroom in downtown Knoxville or the location in West Knoxville located on Kingston Pike near Pellissippi Parkway today.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game, Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
All right, back here on the Playbook. We appreciate you listening along with us, however you may be doing so on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM or 1340 AM here in K-Town on the local dial, or on the X/YouTube live stream. However you're listening or watching, we do appreciate your time and encourage you to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Also use that comment section. We'll be reading off those comments here in just a moment. And as we were coming back in, that Barley's ad was rolling. And a reminder, join us at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria in the Old City tomorrow for the official Fan Run Watch Party for Tennessee and East Carolina as the Volunteers begin their postseason journey in Chapel Hill. Maybe matching up against that North Carolina squad on Saturday, but again, have to get through game one. We'll hit the phones in a moment. Do want to read off these comments real quick before we do that because obviously a lot of people talking about Chaz Coleman. David Speaks says, "What up? It's been a while. I knew Chaz wasn't playing it down for Tennessee. I read AP's face like a book during those first reports of vertigo and homesickness." He put those last two in quotes. Chaz doesn't seem to have vertigo. A funny remark. Buck says homesickness and mental health is a cop-out, William. How many doctors has Coleman been in front of? If he has a mental illness, someone knew. If someone knew, the coaches would know. I'm tired of the placating. Tell it like it is. He's a crybaby. He's a liar, and he took Tennessee's money and knew he would never play here. Tony Mosier chimes in, says Coleman should have been off the team 2 months ago with a couple of exclamation marks. Get the money back. He didn't earn a dime. Also, Heupel is a good coach, but he won't lead us to any championships. And then there's some comments about the IG post that Chaz Coleman put out, talking about his height and weight. I also saw my favorite bad reporter on Twitter put out that Chaz Coleman came in overweight, and that's the reason why there's a fallout currently. I don't know how people listen to that guy as an example for what journalism is, but regardless, he'll probably be hearing that on his summer vacation he's on for high school. Regardless, Spence H says, unfortunate Heupel has to deal with this, hoping and assuming he knows the whole story when it is time to move on. Excited for Jordan Norman and his opportunity in the light of this. And David Speaks chiming in on Jordan Norman as well. That's a guy we talked about yesterday, the Tulane transfer. I think he's going to be good. And at 6'4", 270, you like that size off the edge. I think he's a little bit more muscular than Coleman is. He's got some experience, helped the Green Wave get to a college football playoff appearance last year. If you lose Coleman, that means you're going to see more Norman. And that could be a positive for Tennessee. But as we discussed yesterday as well, you lose Caleb Herring, you lose Joshua Josephs, you lose Jordan Ross. Now that end position gets a little bit thinner, and you're going to have to rely on guys that haven't necessarily made a whole lot of impact yet in their career. And Coleman hasn't either, if we're being fair. Only 144 snaps at Penn State, but you paid the top dollar for him because of his potential. So you're a little thin at that edge position. You're going to have to rely on that defensive line as you always do. But in the SEC, you've got to have good edge rushers. You got to have a quarterback. For Tennessee, you might have missed on both of those in the portal process, despite landing one in Coleman out of the transfer portal. So, all right, good stuff. We appreciate those comments. Super Saiyan real quick says, we need Coleman. He's elite. We don't have anyone elite at that position. I would agree. You don't have anyone elite right now. Maybe Norman could be that for you. Coleman, I wouldn't say is elite at this point in time, but he does have elite potential down the road. Let's hit the phones real quick. We've got Roberto on the line, I think. Is that right, John? Yeah, Roberto. We got Roberto on. What's up, Roberto?
Good afternoon, gents.
How are you?
John on there, too.
Yeah.
Long time no talking.
Yeah.
This Christian Coleman guy, you think I like myself a lot. You should meet that guy. Grief.
Kristen Coleman?
I meant Chaz Coleman, Christian Coleman, that guy too.
Okay.
I mean, like, I'm sorry, I mind fart there from my old man past, but like, who does this stuff, and why is it always us? Of course, it's us. And I think it's starting to come to light that it's Josh Heupel's part of the problem. I like him, and I want him to be successful. Don't get me wrong, but like, at some point, you have to be a decent judge of character. Boo Carter, Nico, this dude, like, we're being held over the barrel every time. Has there been a season since NI became prevalent that we have not been held over a barrel by a player who's on the damn team, not one we're trying to get?
I think the only example would be 2021. I think 2021 was
that was before
year.
It was ever really a thing, and we were giving all the money to high school kids, not college kids, right?
Yeah, 22, you're you're fine. Or no, excuse me, 22, you had the Jeremy Banks incident, and that was reportedly sparked by either Hendon Hooker doing a commercial or something like that. That would be NIL related.
Yeah, and they got in a fight and whatever.
Yeah. And then now, Nico and Boo. Nico was more NIL. Boo was just more being a bonehead, but I mean, you go down the list, at least in the last 15 months, Roberto, you've had 3 different incidents now.
And you can't have that, man. It puts us in such a bad light. And, some people are saying, he took the money and run. Thank you, Steve Miller Band. That's probably a reference way over all y'all's heads.
Sure.
But I'm not so sure that he got all that money. He might have gotten some. But I think this is more of a structured payment. It's not like a upfront and you get everything. That's what we did with Nico, and that was a mistake. And I think they did learn from that. But it's just a bad look. I've heard about it for a week now as I've been out of town doing stuff, and it's just really pissing me off as a fan. Is it doing what it's doing to me, to you guys, and that is turning me off from the program? Like, I just don't care about this season. I want to win so bad, and I just know we're going to just fall on our face again.
Well,
this is just Boo Carter written all over again. We saw what that did to the locker room. Sorry, go ahead.
My expectations have always been pretty level for this upcoming year because I know you have a young quarterback. My philosophy is young quarterbacks don't win. So my whole thing is, this year you kind of trot out, see what you can do, and see if you've got a quarterback for the future type of deal. But SEC 9-game schedule, I'm not expecting a Faison Brandon to go into College Station and knock off Texas A&M. I'm not expecting a Faison Brandon to be 100% clean against Georgia Tech or, any of these other teams.
No, and we were relying on our defense to pick up the slack there, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, look, if the defense is better, they'll keep you in games. If they're an elite level, you could win a couple of games just based off of it. But again, we don't have a whole lot to go off of because this is an entirely new team on the defensive side of the ball, at least.
Right. Well, we bought 4 guys from Penn State because they know the system, right? And one of them's already kind of making himself scarce, apparently.
Sure.
I say if he's not there by tonight, you just cut bait and say, "I'm sorry, man. Like it's been cute and all, but go on." And you just call your team your team. And I'll leave you guys with this as far as baseball. You haven't thrown up the Burt signal yet, but baseball, man, I don't know if we could have gotten a more tough regional draw. But then again, with this team, maybe we just need the absolute toughest draw we can get, because going to A&M as the 12 is a super hard, super difficult, super regional. So maybe this team just they seem to perform at their peak whenever they play peak competition. So maybe they needed a really difficult regional and a really difficult super. And who knows? I mean, if we can get 2 or 3 innings out of Landon Mack at some point this week, probably going to go to a super. You go to a super, you're probably going to win it. See ya.
We appreciate you calling in, Roberto. Super Saiyan on the chat says Christian Coleman might be the fastest Vol. Chaz Coleman might be the fastest to leave the program. That was pretty well done there, Super Saiyan. And then GBO Kyle Beach says, people kill me thinking this is only a Tennessee problem. They notice it more because they follow Tennessee. It happens everywhere in college football. Now, I will say this. I cover college football, all 138 teams. Every group has their own specific issues. Georgia has a problem with the Athens Police Department. They can't stop speeding. There are other programs, maybe like a Clemson, that continues to kind of be the, pity me type of deal for, NIL. Obviously the Luke Farrelly story back in January, the Cal linebacker that committed to Clemson and then went to classes with them, went to practices, and then got up and left for Ole Miss. Sure, it happens across the country, but I think the volume is what is concerning here for Tennessee. There's not another program in the country that has dealt with 3 specific player-related incidents that could wind up them leaving the program in a 15-month span. There's just not. Now, there are NIL disputes, like a Dakota Fields at Oregon leaving and going to Oklahoma. Oregon is suing Fields for $33,000 based on what was left on his NIL contract. But that's more of a court issue. He's already gone. He already left for the transfer portal type of thing. You've got guys currently on the roster in all 3 of these incidents that are either leaving over NIL payments or disputes. Boo Carter's case gets a second chance, does not make the most of it. Now you got this Coleman thing. I know there are other instances across the country, but I think the volume and the time span of 15 months is what is different. And I'm not saying it's Josh Heupel's fault. I'm just asking, what's the type of culture in the locker room that could prevent this? Because those tight-knit groups that win national championships, Indiana's not having this type of crap happen. And as I gave the example of Nick Marsh earlier, Nick Marsh was a 4.5-star recruit out of the transfer portal, one of the top names, one of the best players on the team now. Wore gold cleats, keep in mind, an accessory. And Kirk Cinetti ripped him a new one for it. So that's how we do things here. I think that's setting an example, setting a standard, and holding others, regardless of how good they are, to that same accountability as anyone else on the team. So we'll see how Chaz Coleman and Tennessee fizzle this thing out. I think right now, if he doesn't return this week and you don't hear back from him, I think it's likely you cut bait and move on from him, because that's not something you can have lingering going into summer practice. You got to be focused on the team. You got to be focused on getting better and getting ready for Furman on September 5th. You don't have time to answer questions and deal with drama like you have the last 2 off seasons. So there's my piece on that. When we come back, though, we'll switch to the Diamond, Tennessee baseball, and East Carolina. Josh Elander spoke with the media yesterday. A couple of interesting tidbits we'll talk about. And also the Lady Vols begin their quest in Oklahoma City as they try to achieve their first ever national championship in softball. We'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook.
Catch up with all things Fan Run by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Are you ready for the start of a new season? Maybe looking for your team to go on a tournament run? Get game day ready with Crumble. Head on over to your nearest location and pick up 12 pre-selected cookies plus exclusive toppers. When you're looking for dessert options, there's no question about who you should call on. Our listeners already know. Last year, the Dubai chocolate was a home run, along with the brownie batter. Oreo crumb was another crowd favorite. What new flavor will set the standard this season? If you're in the Knoxville area, there are 3 locations ready to serve you: Clinton Highway, Parkside Drive, and Maryville. Download the Crumble app to build your best lineup and vote on the best combos. You can even put your bid in to request a new flavor. Order in the app and slide on over to your nearest location. Tell them Fan Run sent you, and as always, it's for the fans, by the fans. Don't miss the cookies.
Welcome to Axle Logistics, where excellence isn't just a goal, it's an energy. As a leading third-party logistics company, Axle is powered by an award-winning culture built on a work hard, play hard mentality. Here, the drive for success is contagious and hard work never goes unnoticed. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up, Axle Logistics is the place to launch your career. Join us and take your ambition to the stars. To learn more, visit axlelogistics.com.
All right, back here on the Playbook. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this fine Thursday. Reminder, join us at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria in the Old City tomorrow for Tennessee and East Carolina. First pitch scheduled for 12 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPNU. And we'll be there. So come join us. No show for us, obviously, since the game is going to be taking place during that time. So you can check us out there tomorrow. Let's talk a little bit about that series with, or I guess not series, but this regional, I should say. East Carolina, the first opponent. North Carolina kind of sitting in the rearview mirror as Tennessee anticipates playing them on Saturday with a win over the Pirates, but less than 24 hours away from the game. Caleb, how are you feeling? Vibe check, as we always do the day before.
I don't know. It's kind of how I've felt all season with this Tennessee baseball team. It's kind of I've said it multiple times. You got high hopes, low expectations. I don't know. We've been in these situations before where it's, I mean, we were in the situation last week where we're throwing Blanco, trying to save Coons for North Carolina. We go out and Blanco gets shelled, but don't want to speak that into existence. So, you feel good about going up against an East Carolina team that, our bugaboo all year has been home runs, and they don't really hit the long ball that as much as some other teams in the SEC, and especially not as much as we do. But they still do have a really solid lineup. A lot of guys that can get on base, get them in. It kind of feels like one of those hard-nosed blue-collar teams that Tennessee kind of struggles against sometimes. Those tough-nosed teams, Tennessee kind of, that's kind of been our struggle the last several years under this coaching staff. I remember a few years ago with Campbell when they came in here, that just kind of country boy mindset they came in here with, and they gave us all we wanted out of them. So, it kind of makes you worry a little bit because, this East Carolina team, one of the more historic baseball programs. I mean, that's kind of the story of this region. A lot of pretty good historic baseball programs. I know Tennessee's just, as of recent, but it's kind of, I don't know. We'll say final vibe check. I'll say, we'll say we're about 70% confident. We'll go with that.
Well, the Volunteers are making their 7th straight trip to the NCAA Regional, extending a program record that started in 2019 when the Volunteers traveled to Chapel Hill for the Chapel Hill Regional. And this is the 16th appearance all time for Tennessee in the NCAA baseball tournament. But obviously, as of recent, Tennessee's had more success, so the standards and expectations are a little bit higher than normal. Tennessee, the number 2 seed, and will match up with number 3 seed East Carolina on Friday. The other 2 teams in the region, the number 1 seed and number 5 overall seed North Carolina, the host site, and then number 4 seed VCU, who won the A-10 championship this past year. And yesterday we touched on it a little bit, Josh. Evan Blanco going to get the ball for the Volunteers. Josh Elander said, quote, we're going to go with Evan Blanco game 1, and everybody will be available for every game, but Blanco will lead us out of the game. And when asked why he made that decision, he said, quote, yeah, I think really just, there's a lot of things that went into it. It's something we deliberated, but I think you go back to when we recruited Evan Blanco and the recruiting process. A big thing was the maturity and the strike throwing, but also, 2, he's pitched in the College World Series and he's pitched in the postseason. So how valuable is that experience going to be for Tennessee's game 1 starter on Friday?
I think it's extremely valuable. You can't replicate or simulate postseason experience without actually getting it. So that's the biggest thing for me. I've already talked about, I think Blanco's very talented. He is more than capable of getting us through this first game, and that experience. And like Caleb mentioned, East Carolina doesn't hit the long ball that well. They're more of get guys on base and knock them in, hit doubles, singles, all that good stuff. So if he can do what I think he's capable of doing, we should be able to get through this first game, and that experience is going to go, it's going to carry him through that.
Another big update yesterday, Reese Chapman is going to be a full go per Josh Elander. This was the full quote saying, quote, no, Reese will be a full go. So we're definitely very excited about that. He's really grinding, though. I think a huge credit to Dr. Klink and Woody and the people down at UAB for how they handled the situation, even our admin, just getting him to and from and the people in town, because it was a pretty scary moment. But I'm excited to see Reese rocking and rolling. We'll see if he rolls with the Batman mask or not out there. That's one thing left to see, but I'm just pretty damn excited to see him back out there again. And Caleb, to you, we mentioned Evan Blanco. He's got experience, right? But now it's Reese Chapman, a guy that has been on this team for many years, has seen the highs and lows. This is a big moment for him because this is his senior year. This is his last run. He wants to make the most of it. How important is Chapman being back for this team?
Chapman being back is huge for this, and I think it kind of I don't want to compare the situation to Landon Mack, but I feel like from what we're hearing, Reese Chapman's it feels a lot more like he wants to play a lot more than Landon Mack does. But, I don't want to speak on anything Landon Mack is going through. But anytime I hear somebody say his camp said this or his camp said that, I kind of roll my eyes a little bit. But back on the fact of Chapman, I think Chapman being in these spots and being a leader that these guys turn to is a huge benefit for this team. I think this team has kind of gotten a mojo about him or a vibe about him these last month or 2 months of the season that just it really makes you feel good about going into these postseason situations, because that's what baseball is. Baseball is about vibes. If you've played baseball before, it's about momentum. It's about vibes. It's about how are you feeling that day. It's about going bat for your teammates. It's all about, like, especially with what Chapman taking a ball to the face like that is scary, and then seeing a guy bounce back and come back and play, like, that kind of fires you up as a team and as a teammate. So excited to get him back out there, and I think he's probably swinging the best bat right now. So getting him back for this is huge, and then not only for the performance aspect, but it's for the locker room aspect of it as well.
The Vols entered this year's tournament with a 38-20 overall record, including a 15-15 mark in the SEC. The 6th consecutive season that Tennessee baseball has been either at 500 or above 500 in conference play. And UT will look to continue its current run of postseason success after having won 5 NCAA regional championships in a row, dating back to 2021. So on the quest for another trip to Omaha is Tennessee baseball, but Tennessee softball, they already punched their ticket to the Women's College World Series, and they get started later on today as they will match up against the number 2 overall seed Texas at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. This one is played at Devon Park in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And this is going to be a good one for this Lady Vols team. They come in at 47-10 on the season, and they went 5-0 in the Knoxville Regional and Super Regional. And look, this is a group at the beginning of the year. You know, you go back to those early season tournaments. Tennessee was one of the best throughout the year, had a little bit of a dip in SEC play, but they've got one of the best pitchers in the country in Garland Pickens, and this is a loaded roster. If there were ever a time to win your first national championship in softball, it would be this year. And you've made 10 appearances in this event. This is now the first since 2025, obviously. You've now made back-to-back. But you look at the recent history, you made 2023, 2025, 2026. You've got the opportunities. And most of the players on this roster have experience. Garland Pickens has plenty of experience in these spots. But now it's just coming in and getting those wins. Texas, another really good team for sure. But I think what you've seen from the Lady Vols throughout the year is in SEC play, there was a little bit of drop in consistency, but the last 2 weeks, as we talked about yesterday for Tennessee baseball, what you did in the regular season, what you did in the SEC tournament, it all goes out the window. And the Lady Vols have played 5 really good games in a row. So I'm playing some of their best softball of the season at a really important time. So I think they're coming in with momentum. Texas is a good group. Going to be difficult to get by them, but I think you really have to rely on your pitching and Garland Pickens, and you know the bats will follow. Texas has good pitching too. All these teams are going to have that at this point in the tournament. But I think you're really going to have to hone in on your ace and your staff, because that's ultimately one of the biggest advantages you have all season. And I'm wondering if we see any more fastballs from her that mirror the numbers she was putting up last year in the Super Regional. And even, I think, once in Oklahoma City as well. I want to see how high she can go on that. What is it? Speedometer? Is that what it's called? Speedometer? Radar gun? Whatever you want to call it. I'm looking forward to that. But Lady Vols softball, any comments on that? Anything for the Lady Vols as they begin their quest for a title? I guess in Oklahoma City, this case.
I think if it's not now, when? I mean, the team who's run college softball for as long as I've been alive, they're not there. You have arguably the best player in Oklahoma City. If you're not going to do it now, are you ever going to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that this season has been kind of what they're building to. I mean, we've had really good teams, but it kind of feels like this is what we've been waiting for, and this is kind of what we're getting up to. And watching Carolyn Pickens, you say she's one of the best. I think she's the best. Well, I mean, watching her pitch, I mean, I know it's just softball. I don't watch a ton of softball, but it's just insane. It's insane to watch her pitch. And I swear, sometimes she'll go out there and get some ducks on the pond, though she'll just go strikeout. I swear she does it on purpose sometimes. But, you know, it's this Lady Vols softball team is really fun to watch, and it's really kind of it's been fun to see the Tennessee fans kind of rally around softball and start watching it a lot more. So it's fun. It's fun.
Well, we'll be racing to the TV after we're done here. But Tennessee starts that track for a potential first ever national title in softball. Tennessee and Texas, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. When we come back in hour 2, we'll discuss the game times being released for Tennessee football, just those first 3 games, but it now gives us a little bit of a glimpse of what the early season may look like for the Volunteers with the new quarterback. We'll also discuss the NBA playoffs. Game 6 tonight between the Thunder and Spurs. Can San Antonio send it to a Game 7? We'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever the they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox, Fox Sports Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, The real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
In a world filled with deadlines and screens, sometimes we forget the simple joys of life, days filled with special moments. At Inward Half, we understand the essence of these moments. Feel the difference between our breathable fabrics and flexible apparel as you disconnect from the hustle and bustle and reconnect with what truly matters. Inward Half, simple luxury for on and off the course.
Hey, Vols fans, Cody Brown here. I grew up right here in Tennessee and know what it means when someone says, I've got your back. That's why you can trust Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Whether it's your home, your vehicle, your family's future, or the business you built from the ground up, we will show up for all of your insurance needs. We are Tennesseans who understand what matters, which is doing right by you. Insurance is not all about just paperwork and policies, but it's about the people we insure every day. So if you want insurance that hits home, give me a call at 865-992-3871. Go Vols.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you can donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-639-8620. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It'll be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car. And as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now. Call 1-800-639-8620. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-639-8620. That's 1-800-639-8620.
Citizens National Bank.
Experience the thrill of traveling with C&B's exclusive travel program. Customers age 50 and above with a Plus Perks checking account can participate, ensuring a safe and delightful travel adventure. Take a day trip or an overnight trip. Travel domestic or international. C&B is always on the go.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Here we go. Hour 2 on a Thursday, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio. We got John Reed. We got Caleb DeBusk. We've got Josh Lovett joining you. I'm William Pattison. Great stuff in hour number 1. We'll continue it here in hour number 2 as we discuss the game times for Tennessee football being released yesterday. Just the first 3 games, but again, gives us a glimpse of what that early season picture looks like for the Volunteers, especially with a lot of new faces and new places. We'll also discuss the NBA playoffs. The Thunder and Spurs head to a Game 6 tonight in San Antonio. Can Victor Wembanyama will San Antonio back to a Game 7 in Oklahoma City. We'll also wrap it up with our final thoughts. But before we get into that schedule release, Benai in the comment section, we've got some fire going down in here. Ty Velli talking about Ty Velli doesn't believe there's a culture issue or a culture problem. He thinks it's just 3 players, and I'm just trying to paraphrase this, not calling out or anything, just paraphrasing it. But he's saying people actually don't know what's going on and that it's not a culture issue because just 3 guys in a 15-month span had an issue, that there are hundreds of players that have come in and out of the program. My response to that, Ty, would be a couple of things. And you also mentioned the Instagram post. The page that was taken down was Chaz Coleman's. Chaz Coleman is the one that posted the picture. It was a story back on May 10th, and he had it as a highlight on his Instagram page. And if you're not familiar with that, it's basically just like a little circle that you can click, and it goes through your favorite pictures. And he had that on there, and that was posted on May 10th. So, yes, it has been taken down, but that was his account, and he took it down yesterday in light of everything going on Twitter and Instagram, people posting about it. Where I push back on, it's just 3 players in a 15-month span out of a lot of them. The specific situations for these guys, they're all top players, quarterback, freshman All-American and Boo Carter, and now the top player in the transfer portal. All 3 of these guys are big names and you're having these issues. It'd be different if you were having an issue with the 3rd string defensive back that's a local kid. It'd be different. I understand where you're coming from, but my argument is these are all big players, big names, and their issues are all specifically different. Where one was NIL, one was off the field being a bozo, and now this one is homesickness, but it's kind of like a gray cloud of what's really going on. So that'd be my pushback there. I'm not saying that there is a culture problem at Tennessee, but I do believe there are some things that need to be tightened up. There's some things that need to be changed. And when you're a player's coach, that's your identity. Obviously, you're going to have really great relationships with those guys. It's going to be huge in recruiting. It's going to be big after they leave, too, because then they want to come back and they want to continue to prop up the team and prop up the university. But also that player connection can get you in spots like these where if you give them too much rope, then they're going to take away and run with it. And I think you've seen that a couple of times now. So that'd be my main pushback. The Orange Voller says, do you think he is purposely trying to get kicked off the team so he can enroll at Ohio State without violating the ghost transfer rule? Now, if he were to leave, I don't think he would be allowed to play on another team. Getting dismissed might allow him to walk on somewhere, and we had actually discussed this earlier this morning, John and I, during one of their breaks. Jake Retzloff was at BYU last year. He was their quarterback, and he got removed from campus due to an honor code violation and went to Tulane. Now, something important to note, the rule of the ghost transfer was not in place at that time. So I don't know if Chaz Coleman were to get dismissed from the team, I don't think he could go anywhere else without going through the portal process. That's the way I understand it. Maybe there's a loophole. Josh, do you have something on that?
Yeah, I believe if he were to do that, he would have to then transfer down a division level.
Okay.
Because we had a situation like this happen while in the spring semester at my school after I was off the team, but I believe he would have to transfer down a division level, so I don't think that would work.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I don't imagine that. And regardless, I don't think he wants to waste a year of eligibility just to go pick up and leave and go join a new team. Like, I mean, you got to figure out a whole new defense. I just don't imagine him. If he doesn't play for Tennessee this upcoming season, I don't think he's going to play, period. Just take a gap year and maintain that eligibility. But I don't think he's going to pick up and leave and go somewhere else. I don't think that's what he's trying to do. A lot of comments from Faison's Milkshake as well. I thought he doesn't want to play football, period. Wants the money, but doesn't want to do the work. That's what he thinks about it. We'll continue to monitor the Chaz Coleman situation. Obviously going to be one of the bigger offseason storylines. But the other one, more football related, is who's going to play at quarterback. Is it going to be Faison Brandon? Is it going to be George McIntyre? Does Jesus come back down to earth and Ryan Staub ends up being your guy? Those are the questions at the moment. But at least for the time being, we've got a little bit of a glimpse of what that early season looks like for Tennessee as game times for the first 3 weekends of the 2026 college football season were announced as a part of the SEC spring meetings at the Sandestin Hilton Hotel on Wednesday. And Tennessee will open its season September 5th against Furman at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the SEC Network Plus and ESPN Plus from Neyland Stadium. So that's going to be a password book game. But the 3:30 kick, I'm okay with it. 12 o'clock in the first week of September is going to be hot as hell. And it usually is for that opening game. Now, last year, people got to benefit from being inside of a dome in Atlanta. But I remember my senior year, Tennessee and Chattanooga was the opening game. And I was on the field for it. And it was so hot, I could only be on the field for a quarter. And it was, it's the coolest experience ever. Now, granted, I was there early and got to watch pregame warmups and all of that. But, man, when that heat starts coming down on you, and if you don't have that coverage in the stands in terms of a shadow, man, you are baking out there. So I like the 3:30 kick. Fine with me. There's a lot of football going on that weekend anyway. So in a 3:30 slot, you can watch a little bit of the early slate, still catch the end of the afternoon or the night game slate. I'm fine with it. What do you guys think, beginning with you, Caleb? The afternoon start for the opener, do you like it?
Yeah, I like the 3:30 kick. Typically where these first games of the seasons were in that little 7:30 p.m. spot for the SEC network. So, yeah, I like the 3:30 spot. You get to watch the games before, you get to watch the games after. If you're in the stadium, you might pull out your phone a little bit, pull up some YouTube TV, watch a couple of games. But, yeah, it's 3:30. It's still going to be pretty hot. I remember last year, the Georgia game, I was sitting down in the student section, had my Volveralls on. I had to go to the Vol shop and buy some towels and throw them over my shoulder. I was still pretty sunburned after that game. I think that's the most sunburned I've ever been in my entire life. But Furman might catch this one on a couch for this one, given that it's only just first game of the season, but still excited. I mean, 3:30. I like the spot. Again, you get to watch the big noon for that day, and then flip over and watch Tennessee play. Then you get your night slate. So I like the 3:30 slot. Gives you a lot of leeway in what you want to watch.
You know what I really liked was 2021. And I think 2022 as well. You opened on a Thursday night. You played Bowling Green in Josh Heupel's debut, and then Ball State was the opener for the 2022 season. I love the Thursday game. It's at night, so you've kind of got the opportunity to, cool down a bit. By the time the game starts, it's around 80 degrees, but it's not, the sun's not in your face. I love the Thursday night game, and I'd love it more because then you have the whole weekend to watch football, and then Thursday is basically another Saturday. You've got a huge weekend because you got Labor Day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Like a 5-day weekend. So I like the Thursday night opener, but again, not going to be in the cards for this year. 3:30 is the time slot, Josh. As a guy that, has has played in August, played in September, would you rather play at 12 or would you rather play at 3:30? What do you make of the time slot for Furman?
I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make in terms of heat because, the sun's still not setting during that game time. It's still going to be hot as all get out.
Yeah.
In September, I prefer to play night games because, like you said, it's still going to be pretty warm, but the sun's not beating down on you, so it's not as bad. I think 3:30 is fine. It's fun. It lets people sleep in a little bit. They don't have to get to campus at 6 in the morning to tailgating or anything. I was more interested in the Georgia Tech kick time than anything. So that's where my eyes went to, but 3:30 is fun. It's cool and different, really, is my opinion on it.
Well, good timing on that Georgia Tech, because let's talk about that. That's probably the most significant of the three. As the following week on September 12th, the Volunteers will travel to Atlanta, Georgia to face the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets in a 7 p.m. primetime kickoff on ESPN. It will be the first meeting between the two teams inside Bobby Dodd Stadium since October 25th, 1986. What were you doing on that date back then? Shows how cool this matchup is, unique it is. Obviously, Tennessee and Georgia Tech played in the, Chick-fil-A kickoff back in 2018, 2019, something like that. But regardless, now you get this one in Bobby Dodd Stadium. This was originally scheduled to be inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but they moved it to Bobby Dodd. Going to be a cool environment, but night game on the road, that's not really in Josh Heupel's MO. And this one could be really interesting because now you got a freshman quarterback, whether it be a redshirt version or a true freshman version, making his first start against a Power 4 opponent on the road at night. Now, who knows what Georgia Tech looks like? A lot of changes. They lost their offensive coordinator. They lost their quarterback, Haynes King, from last year due to graduation, but they did bring in a guy that's got a good bloodline, and that's Alberto Mendoza, who comes over from Indiana out of the transfer portal. They've got a couple of nice pieces, a receiver. And I like Brent Key a lot. I like Brent Key. So this is a Georgia Tech team that could surprise some people, and they're going to have the opportunity to when they welcome in the Volunteers. And that night game slot, I think, is just tough to ask of a George McIntyre or ask of a Faison Brandon to go in there and play complete, clean football. Because when Georgia Tech is up, that stadium gets rolling. I mean, go back to even when Georgia Tech wasn't necessarily on the level they are now. That Florida State-Georgia Tech game a couple of years, maybe not a couple of years ago, a handful of years ago, that was a sellout crowd. I imagine this is going to be a sellout too. Going to be a pretty pro-Georgia Tech group. If they had played in Atlanta, I think Tennessee would have traveled pretty well and filled out that stadium. But with this one being in their own building, it's going to be a tough environment. And I think it's going to be a quick reminder of what it means to have a freshman quarterback. I know Joey Aguilar caught a lot of flack last year because of the way he ended the season. But you go on the road, things get a little dicey. He went on the road to Mississippi State last year, did Joey Aguilar, and engineered a game-winning drive. And if your coach could have called a couple of timeouts, he might have been able to win it in regulation. So he went on the road last year and did his job. There have been times where Tennessee hasn't done that. Arkansas, an example, the year prior in 2024. Night games are always interesting. They're always tough, and especially when the opponent is somewhat good, things can get interesting. And this could be a spot where Tennessee starts 1-1 to begin the year just because of the time slot. Caleb, to you, does this nighttime slot worry you for a Faison Brandon or a George McIntyre making their first start against a Power 4 opponent on the road at night?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't like road night games in general. The one positive I'll take of this is I do like that it's at Bobby Dodd. I'm glad that it's not in Mercedes-Benz. Even though it is a road game for us, I don't like neutral site games in college football. I'd rather play at either home facility. But I will say I think the general vibe is it's just Georgia Tech. Haynes King isn't there anymore. Like this game isn't played in late November, early November. Like you're not going in there when they have 3 or 4 losses on their schedule already. You're going in there, they're likely going to be 1-0. I mean, this team's going to have everything in front of them. They have college football playoff aspirations just as much as we do, just as much as the next team does. I mean, these teams don't start up the season being like, oh, well, we're just Georgia Tech. We're just going to – no, these teams go out there and they want to win a national title. It doesn't matter how capable they are of it. They want to go out there and do it. This team's going to have everything in front of them. The next thing is, it's only a 51,000 seat stadium. Neyland's 101,000. We're going there and it's cake. It's not. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember Louisville when they had Lamar Jackson. I don't remember which game it was. They went into some 40,000 seat venue and they couldn't hear anything. Like when you get these teams and they're 51,000 people screaming at the top of their lungs. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's 50,000, if it's 20,000, if it's 100,000. We're not going to be able to hear, and that's going to be the thing when we go in there. We cannot go in there and kind of piddle around early. We have to go, like, if we go in there and let them score and we come out and get 3 and out, like, it's going to be a difficult, loud environment. It is of how big the stadium is, how whatever you think of Georgia Tech. I mean, they have standards just like we do, and it's going to be loud.
A couple of comments talking about this game specifically, and Faison's Milkshake wants to know how much football has Mendoza played. As much as our quarterbacks, I think. Well, Mendoza has played in 9 career games. He's appeared at least in 9 career games. Last year, he played in 8 for Indiana, but he's got 286 yards and 5 touchdowns to his name, just 1 interception. He threw that when he was up against UCLA, but not a ton of experience. Sure, I would agree, but he's a redshirt sophomore coming into this year, at least has 2 years of experience. That being at Indiana with a really good coach, I think some value is to be held to that. But in terms of my championship pedigree, No, I don't think Georgia Tech is going to be a championship level team. I don't think Tennessee is going to be that because of their quarterback situation. That's my real philosophy with the young quarterbacks. But here, in this specific example, Mendoza is going to be playing in his own building. He's going to have the crowd going with him, not yelling and screaming, trying to snap off commands and snap off plays as you're running a fast tempo offense. That's my main concern here. I think Faison Brandon could be really good. I think GMAC could be really good. I like Brandon a little bit more, but this is still a tough environment for him. I don't care what he did as a 5-star at Greensley High School. He's never had this many people going against him in a venue. And that's a fact. And that's going to be something you have to adjust to. George McIntyre appeared in a couple of games last year, but none of which would be the level of importance of a week 2 matchup on the road against a team that was ranked throughout last season. Obviously, a lot of changes, sure, but going to be a really tough environment nonetheless, and a tall task for either of Brandon or McIntyre because they're the road opponent here. They're the one going against the crowd. Mendoza at least has that in his back pocket. Tennessee's final non-conference game will be against Kennesaw State. That's on September 19th. Coach Jerry Mack comes back in town. I don't know if we can get John on the mic real quick, but I'd like to get him. Tell him to do a hootie-hoo for Kennesaw State, please. Can we get a hootie-hoo for Kennesaw State? No, they're playing Tennessee. I know, but but you're always good at that.
Yeah, but bad scheduling conflict there for me who wants to watch Kennesaw State versus Tennessee, for that to go head-to-head with Ole Miss and LSU.
That is true.
That's going to be tough.
That is true. But Kennesaw State, Jerry Mack coming back in town. Like Jerry Mack a lot. Did a great job at Tennessee. Now going to try and do the same with the Owls for the second consecutive season. Had Kennesaw State last year in the Conference USA Championship. That bowl game, however, was not pretty. We watched that one here, Myrtle Beach Bowl against Western Michigan. That was ugly. But regardless, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff against Kennesaw State on the SEC Network. I love that too. Early season, night game, low stakes. Fans get to have fun. Bring your family to the game. Going to be probably the least expensive ticket of the season outside of Furman. Might be lower than Furman because Furman's the opener, right? Everyone wants to go to the opener. I think it's a great opportunity. If you don't have a chance to see Tennessee play against like an LSU or an Alabama at home, go to a night game in Neyland. Going to be awesome. Kennesaw State comes into town. I'm a big fan of the non-big game night game because it's a laxed environment. You can hang out. It'll probably be a little bit cooler on September 19th than it would be on September 5th. I love it. I'm all for it. What do you make of it, Josh?
I think it's a really underrated recruiting opportunity, too. It lets these recruits get into Neyland Stadium for a night environment in a low-stakes game where they can just kind of sit back and enjoy what the environment is. It's not going to be as intense as, say, LSU or Alabama might be later in the year, but Neyland at night is still a spectacle no matter who's playing there. So I think it's a very underrated recruiting night as well.
Caleb, to you, what do you make of it?
I like it. I think it gives you a lot of time. I think, Will, you'll be happy. You'll get to watch your Red Hawks in action against Cincinnati at 3:30. You get to see how your dark horse performs this year. But yeah, it gives you time to watch other games. You got Alabama, Florida State that same day. You got A&M and Kentucky. You get to see how legit Kentucky might actually be this year. And like he said, a little scheduling conflict, LSU and Ole Miss. So you might have to do a little split screen action for that if you're not at the game. But yeah, I like the night game, low stakes opponents. It's also a cool opportunity we might wear some different uniforms. We might go maybe some all orange. Maybe we'll break out some smoky grays. Maybe if Adidas wants to give us some of those. I don't think we'll bust out the dark modes for this one. We usually save that. But yeah, it's a fun opportunity for fans. Like he said, it's a great recruiting opportunity. It's just a fun environment altogether. You get to have some fun at the game. Maybe some cool light shows. Halftime, it might not be dark enough at kickoff, but given the fact that it's early in the year, but yeah, just a fun opportunity in general. I like these non-conference night games.
Well, you hope for a game like this that the fireworks will be often for Tennessee, as obviously those go off after every score. So hopefully you'll get to see the lights, or it's going to be the sky painted with orange and white after Tennessee makes it to the checkerboards. But the game times, early afternoon, night, or flex for the remainder of the 2026 schedule will be announced on June 10th at 7 p.m. on the SEC Network. So these are just the first 3 games. We'll get the rest down the way in a I guess a couple of weeks, June 10th, maybe 2 weeks. But just a little interactive game. Let's try to figure out whether we believe the rest of the schedule will be an early, afternoon, or night game. So let's start with the fourth matchup of the season for the Volunteers, and that is Texas. Texas versus Tennessee. I will pencil this one in as a 3:30 or 7:30 kick. I believe this will be the night game on ABC or one of the primetime ABC games. I think Texas will likely be an undefeated team, assuming they take down Ohio State in week 2. Tennessee, if they're able to get outside of Georgia Tech with a win, you'd have probably 2 top 25 teams that are undefeated. I think that's a night game. I'm going to pencil that one in as a night, but I could also maybe see in the afternoon. Real quick, night game or Texas, Tennessee, what's your prediction for that time slot?
I'm going to be with you, 3:30 or 7:30. I think used to these games used to be automatic 3:30, but now with the ESPN kind of going towards the 7:30 more often. Used to you only got one of those a year. Now you get them. I don't know if it's every week, but you get them more often than once a year. So I'll go with either 3:30 or 3:30 on ABC or a little 7:30 on ESPN maybe.
Josh, to you, Texas, Tennessee, your prediction there.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. The only game that I could see maybe getting that 7:30 ABC slot over Tennessee, Texas is Oklahoma, Georgia. But I think that'll be your doubleheader for 3:30 and 7:30.
Yeah, Oklahoma, Georgia will be a banger as well. That might get the tip of the cap because both those teams will likely still be in the top 25 or top 15, top 10. We'll move to Auburn in Tennessee. That's the following week on October 3rd as Alex Golish and company come into town. I'm going to slate this one as a 3:30 kick on ABC. I don't think this is going to get the nightcap, but I could also see this as a 7 o'clock kick on an ESPN. Maybe not the ABC game, but an ESPN. But I'm going to go with 3:30 for Auburn, Tennessee. Alex Golish makes his return to Neyland Stadium. Caleb, to you, your prediction for Auburn and Tennessee on the time slot.
Just given the rest of the conference slate, I mean, Georgia and Vandy play that day, but yeah, I'll give this a 3:30, a good chance for a 3:30 slot as well, just given the rest of the SEC slate.
Josh, to you?
I think they'll flex it. I think they want to see how Golish and company do. They play Vandy in Florida the 2 weeks before that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they can get 2 wins there, that might be something they want to prime time. So I think they'll flex it and wait and see.
Tennessee and Arkansas the following week on October 10th. I think this is a noon kick or a 12:45 kick on SEC Network. I don't think Arkansas is going to be a very good team. And you look at the scheduling they've got recently where they play Utah. First off, Utah-Arkansas is one of the most interesting games of the season. Why the hell is Arkansas? They did this last year too. Arkansas hosted Notre Dame, and now this year they're traveling to Utah. But I think Tennessee-Arkansas is a 12:45 kick on the SEC Network. I think Tennessee is likely coming off a loss to Texas here. Maybe already has 2 if they lose to Georgia Tech or Auburn. And Arkansas, not a team that I think is going to be good. I go 12:45 on the SEC Network for my prediction for this one.
I'm with you on that because it's the same day Georgia-Bama play, and that's the same day the Red River Shootout. So, I mean, we got some stiff competition there to go up with some game time. So, especially if either one of us has one or a couple losses, that just, yeah, the opponent and the rest of the conference slate. I don't see this one getting much attention.
Right there with you guys.
Okay. All right. Even down the road there, Alabama and Tennessee, October 17th, the third Saturday in October. I think this one's going to be a 3:30 regardless of where these teams are at this point. Still delivered so many great games over the last couple of years. Last season, it was at night, but I think this one is 3:30 in Neyland Stadium where it has been in that time slot over the last couple of years. I go 3:30 here.
Yeah, I'll go 3:30 here because I think Georgia-Auburn's probably going to get that night slot for that week. So, yeah, I'll go 3:30 here. This one, Tennessee could be winless to this point. I think we'd still get that 3:30 slot just because it's the third Saturday in October. Everybody knows it.
Well, let's hope you're able to knock off Furman and Kennesaw State. But, Josh, to you.
Yeah, they'll flex it, but I think it'll end up at 3:30 as well, just because, like you said, Auburn, Georgia. I think the only reason they're going to flex it is in case Auburn fizzles out. Maybe they lose to Florida, Vandy, and Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Then you're not going to want to prime time that game. Yeah. But they'll flex it for that reason, but I would expect 3:30.
All right, Tennessee, South Carolina. That's on October 24th. And fans might not like to hear this, but I project this to be a 7 p.m. Eastern time kickoff on ESPN or the night game on SEC Network. I think this one winds up being in a night spot in Williams-Brice Stadium. Not a fun place to go as of late for Tennessee, but I think South Carolina is immensely talented. We'll see where they are at this point in the season. I think they could very well play this game without their coach if Shane Beamer does get the can, but this screams the SEC Network nightcap or an ESPN nightcap game, not ABC. Caleb, to you, same question.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is a 7:45 on SEC Network with Cole Kubelik roaming around the field. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. A little scary, but, hopefully this Arkansas team is in the can by the time we get there.
I could see it maybe.
Or South Carolina, rather, sorry.
I can see it maybe finding its way into an afternoon slot. Just looking at the slate of games, you've got A&M Bama that day, LSU at Auburn, Ole Miss at Texas. I could see it maybe finding its way to an earlier spot. If you made me take a guess right now, I would guess a night game, just because I feel like the last few times we played at South Carolina, it's been a night game every time.
Sure.
So that would be my guess, but don't be surprised if it makes its way into an afternoon spot.
Kentucky and Tennessee. I'm going to go with the afternoon slate on the SEC Network for this one, a 4:15 kickoff. I think Kentucky could be interesting this year. I like Kenny Minchie, the transfer from Notre Dame at quarterback. I'm a big fan of Will Stein, but at this point in the year, Tennessee's probably going to have a handful of losses, and so is Kentucky. I don't anticipate this one being on ABC. I see this one as a 4:15 SEC Network kickoff. Caleb, to you, your thoughts on Kentucky and Tennessee for the time slot.
Yeah, I'm with you on the SEC Network. I can see this being an afternoon or a night slot for the SEC Network, just given the fact that Oklahoma, Florida play that day, Bama, LSU, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas, Missouri. Like, this is a really loaded week for the SEC. So this is definitely an SEC Network slot, whether that be 4:15 or 7:45.
And Josh, to you?
I think it could be a dark mode spot. Kentucky's been our dark mode team the past few times they've come to Knoxville. At this point, it's either them or LSU. Do we want to break out the black jersey against Lane Kiffin? I don't know if we want to do that. So I think this might be a dark mode spot.
My one automatic loss for the year, Tennessee traveling to Texas A&M. I think it really is dependent on how good Tennessee is at this point in time. And if it projects the way I see Tennessee's season going, I think this is a 12 p.m. Eastern time kickoff on ABC or a 3:30 kick. I don't think this is going to be a night game just based off Tennessee probably having multiple losses at this point in the year. But I think this is still an ABC game because Texas A&M, a big program, Tennessee, a big program. They like big programs on their national television. Caleb, to you.
Yeah, I'm going to say 3:30 on ABC. Like you said, I don't think this will be an SEC Network game, just given the power of these two brands that they bring. They're going to bring viewers no matter what their records are. So I see this being a 3:30 ABC game. But I don't see it going to the night slot. I don't see it going any later than 3:30. I could see a noon slot as well, but I think 3:30 is where this one's going to fall.
Josh, what about you?
It'll be ABC, probably afternoon, unless we surprise some people. If we surprise people, that could be the ABC primetime game.
Oh yeah,
don't know if that'll happen, but I would expect sometime in the afternoon on ABC.
LSU and Tennessee the following week. This is on November 21st. I think this is the primetime ABC game. I don't care where Tennessee is at the point in the season. If they have beaten like an Arkansas, beaten a Kentucky, South Carolina, this is probably a group that has 3 losses and is still somewhat in the hunt in terms for a playoff bid. I know it'd be a very, very far stretch, but technically 3 losses and you're still on the bubble. For Tennessee, it would be likely losses to Texas, Alabama, Texas A&M. Those presumably would be top 15 teams. So you still be somewhere in the hunt. And Lane Kiffin returning to Knoxville is must-see TV. If you haven't noticed from the schedule already, ESPN and ABC, they like LSU. They like Lane Kiffin. They like drama, and you're not going to get any more drama at this point in the season than LSU and Lane Kiffin coming into Neyland Stadium. Give me this as the night game on ABC primetime matchup.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's definitely going to be an ABC game. And honestly, with the rest of the slate, the other best game that week is A&M and Oklahoma. Like, I can see if Tennessee has 2 or maybe even 1 loss at this point in the season, I can see game day rolling into town for this one. It really just depends on what Tennessee's doing. I think if we have more than 2 losses, if we have 3 losses, I don't think we get that game day. But I think if we have 1 to 2 losses, I think I see game day rolling into town for this one.
Yeah, this is the one I'm most confident in. This is going to be a night game. This might be your dark mode spot.
Yeah.
I'll lock it in, especially with it being Cupcake Week, the last one in the SEC. This will be a night game.
Real quick, because we went a little bit over. Tennessee Vanderbilt, final game of the season. I think this is either 12 on ABC or a 12:45 kick on SEC Network. Tennessee and Vanderbilt have a little bit of ruffled feathers as of late, but I could see this kind of being the opening because you got to keep in mind too, folks, this is Thanksgiving weekend. You've had a lot of games already on Friday and there are others on Saturday, but Friday has a big bulk of games. I can see this one being ABC 12 o'clock. Real quick, Caleb.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 12 because the Iron Bowls that day, they usually take that night slot most of the time, and typically when we play in Nashville, it's a noon kick. But if it's in Knoxville, it's usually a night kick. But Nashville, it's usually a noon kick, so I'll go with noon.
Yeah, real quick, Josh.
I'll say 4 o'clock. SEC Network.
All right, good stuff. Well, those are our projections for the rest of the Tennessee schedule. Again, those first 3 games, they've already solidified. 3:30 for Furman on September 5th. 7 o'clock against Georgia Tech on the road at night on ESPN. And then the following week, September 19th, Kennesaw State rolls into town, a night game for the Volunteers in that one as well. So when we come back, we'll flip over to the hardwood, talk the NBA playoffs. Game 6 of the Thunder and Spurs tonight. Can San Antonio stay alive? We'll break it down. We return right here on the Playbook.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Are you ready for the start of a new season? Maybe looking for your team to go on a tournament run? Get game day ready with Crumble. Head on over to your nearest location and pick up 12 pre-selected cookies plus exclusive toppers. When you're looking for dessert options, there's no question about who you should call on. Our listeners already know. Last year, the Dubai chocolate was a home run, along with the brownie batter. Oreo crumb was another crowd favorite. What new flavor will set the standard this season? If you're in the Knoxville area, there are 3 locations ready to serve you: Clinton Highway, Parkside Drive, and Maryville. Download the Crumble app to build your best lineup and vote on the best combos. You can even put your bid in to request a new flavor. Order in the app and slide on over to your nearest location. Tell them Fan Run sent you, and as always, it's for the fans, by the fans. Don't miss the cookies.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation, or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Smoky Mountain Brewery is the place to be for game day. From the moment you walk in, it's wall-to-wall big screens, making Smoky Mountain Brewery the perfect place to watch the Vols or your favorite team in action. With locations in Turkey Creek, Maryville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, you're never far away from a great time at Smoky Mountain Brewery. Try one of their world-famous microbrews like Black Bear Ale, Mountain Light, or Cherokee Ale. Juicy burgers, wings that bring the heat, and delicious handmade pizzas made with hand-tossed crust from the freshest ingredients and their own special sauce from a secret recipe, topped off with hand-grated cheese and farm-fresh toppings. And don't forget, those famous microbrews are also available in kegs for your next party or in 6-packs and growlers to go. So grab your crew and head to Smoky Mountain Brewery and tell them Fan Run Radio sent you. Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
Fan Run Radio, the flagship station for Tennessee fans.
This ain't no wishy-washy, limp-wristed, kale-eating, half-ass sports radio station.
We're your in-your-face, truth-telling, say-it-loud, flag-waving, face-painting, hardcore, bring the noise, causing a ruckus, don't give a damn sports station.
Sports talk that doesn't just hang up and listen.
For the fans. This is Fan Run Radio.
Get some.
All right, back here on the Playbook. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine Thursday from Knoxville, Tennessee. If you're on the YouTube chat, you got a little bit of behind the scenes as well. You got to see us during the break, but we appreciate you hanging out with us. Coming up in 23 minutes, it's The Drive with Russell Smith, Bob Baskerville, the Bear, and, well, I think Walker's out of town this week. So just that first trio I rattled off. But let's flip to the NBA playoffs, as tonight you've got Game 6 between the Spurs and the Thunder. It's the most watched Western Conference Finals in a long time, and that's because you've got Victor Wembanyama, the alien, the future of the league, and then you've got the Thunder, one of the most polarizing teams we've seen in recent years, characterized by their flopping and flailing, but also their deep roster and anyone being able to come up and make a play, whether it be a Jared McCain, whether it be an Alex Caruso, whether it be an A.J. Mitchell. They've got a lot of other cats outside of SGA and Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren that can put it in the bucket, and that's why they're one game away now from making their second consecutive appearance in the NBA Finals. And tonight, the Thunder are still strong favorites to win the series at minus 450. However, the Spurs are going to be the favorites for tonight's game in Game 6 by 3.5 points. Now, potentially, with a renewed sense of urgency and with their season on the line, the Spurs should come out with the same energy on Thursday that they have demonstrated throughout this series and be able to hang around and also maybe pull away, as they did in Game 4, a dominant win in which they held the Thunder to 82 points, a season low. But that said, they started Game 3 with a 15-0 lead and still lost. So it shows you how strong this Thunder team is, but also how they've got to keep their foot on the pedal if you're San Antonio. Can't allow them back into the game. Wembanyama, a little bit shaky in Game 5. 4 of 15 from the field, missed all 5 of his three-point attempts, and the Spurs need more than just 20 points and 6 rebounds from the franchise big man. And that leads us into tonight. Will the Thunder take it on the road, or will the Spurs extend it to a Game 7? I'm going to go with the latter here. I'm going to say San Antonio takes this 1-7, and we get the best 2 words in sports, a Game 7. I think that San Antonio plays better when they're on their home floor. You saw that in Game 3 when they came out of the gates with a 15-0 run, but they've got to be able to continue putting their foot on the pedal and not allow for this Thunder team to get back into it. Now, in that game, they had some injuries. You had a Dylan Harper go down. You had a couple of different nicks and bruises throughout the night. I thought in Game 5, San Antonio got into some foul trouble. Stephon Castle racked up 5 fouls. Keldon Johnson was moving up there as well, and Wembanyama was just off. So that all characterized a loss. But now you're back in your own building. This is where you have thrived throughout the season. Keep in mind, you had played well against the Thunder in the regular season. You got to take it one game at a time. I know this is a younger team, and that does scare me a little bit for a spot like this, but back against the wall, Victor Wembanyama is one of the hungriest young players I've seen in this game in quite some time, and I don't think he's going to go out on his home floor like this. So I take San Antonio to get it done tonight, and I think we go to a Game 7. Caleb, to you, who will win tonight's game, and do we see a Game 7?
Yeah, we definitely see a Game 7 here. I think the phrase I like to use for this is wounded animal mode. San Antonio's in wounded animal mode, backs against the wall, going home on their home floor. Didn't play the level of basketball that they wanted to play in game 5 in OKC, and I think they come home and get it done here. I think Victor kind of redeems himself a little bit. Kind of goes out maybe a 25, maybe a 30-point night for him. I don't know. Never know with Wemby. He's the kind of player that can go out and score 40, but he's also a guy that can do what he did in Game 5 and go out and kind of mosey around a little bit. And I think this Thunder team, the more you talk about how talented and how deep this team is, it kind of makes you a little bit more frustrated with the flopping and flailing. They don't really need to do this. This is a very uber talented team that is very good and very deep, and then they kind of ruin it for themselves. This has the potential to be a very likable team, but it's just that they're not. I mean, I would never like them because Shea played for Kentucky. I mean, you guys, as Tennessee fans, none of us should like Shea, regardless of his flopping. But I think this Thunder team kind of they do it to themselves. This is a very talented team that doesn't need to do what they do, but they do anyways. And we've talked ad nauseam the last few days about the flopping, so I don't really want to touch on that too much. But yeah, I think San Antonio goes back home here, gets a win in Game 6, and they've already shown they can win in OKC in that Game 1, 2 overtimes. They go in there and win. So I wouldn't count San Antonio out here. I think San Antonio still got a fighting chance in this series, and I think San Antonio definitely takes this one tonight and might be able to take Game 7.
Well, we'll pinpoint what Adam Silver had to say about the flopping and flailing here in a moment as he met with Pat McAfee yesterday. Adam Silver and Pat McAfee get in a room together. Wow. Surprised you get a whole lot of energy out of that. More one-sided. But anyway, Game 7 tonight, Game 6 tonight. Josh, how big of an NBA guy are you? Are you an NBA guy, you'd say?
I am. I was a little bit more when I was younger, but I keep up with it. So especially now with how good the series has been, that's been appointment television for me. So I've been watching.
Okay, good deal. Because I didn't want to hit you and not have you know much about it. But what do you think about Game 6 tonight, Thunder and Spurs?
Yeah, I like San Antonio. What I'm really interested in seeing is how Wemby is, and this is his first really big elimination spot, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm really interested to see how he handles that situation. It being at home is going to help him. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he goes for, 25, 30. He does what he needs to do. Are the other young cats on that team going to be able to do that? Is Dylan Harper going to be able to do that? Is Stephon Castle going to rise to the occasion? I think they will. I think them being at home is going to help them. I think they were really disappointed in how they played in Game 5. So I'm expecting this to get to 7. Whether or not they win Game 7, we'll see. I was telling my friends beforehand, if San Antonio doesn't win Game 5, I don't see them winning 2 straight to win the series. But
sure.
I think it'll get to 7.
Well, let's hope we get a Game 7 because this has been a great series. It was capitalized by that Game 1 matchup that felt like we were in for an all-time thriller. And this has still been a really good series. I don't know if anything's going to top that Game 1 performance between the two teams, but I'd love a Game 7. And if it was anything like the first game of the series, we could be in for a fun one. So we'll all take San Antonio tonight to get it done. But I do want to mention that flopping and flailing that Caleb was discussing. Adam Silver went on Pat McAfee yesterday. Say that out loud. He was also asked about, what the vibe is with tanking and what they're going to do to fix that and a plethora of other things. But one thing he discussed was the concerns surrounding flopping and officiating, specifically regarding the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. Many believe that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that is, who just won his second consecutive regular season MVP, has a habit of exaggerating foul calls. And I don't think that's that deep of an opinion to make. You can just watch the game blindly and have that opinion. But to that, Silver felt it was important to make the distinction between embellishing contact to draw a foul and a genuine part of the game and actually deceiving the officials. He wanted to differentiate actual fouls between fake fouls. And this is what he said, quote, "Even as I sit in the stands at games, players may be falling down, players may be reacting to a call. But to me, if they're not fooling the referees, it's okay. Players are taught to sell these calls every day." They're taught to do it because you allow it, Adam Silver. That's why. They're not taught to, okay, if you get contact, make sure you end up in the third row. They're not taught, okay, if you drive inside and you miss a point-blank layup, just start screaming and yelling, you might get a call. They're only allowing that because Adam Silver's NBA does. They allow for you to complain and cry and get your way. It's very funny to me in the NBA to differentiate the players that constantly complain and the ones that never do. And the one time that like a Mike Conley gets fired up, it'll be a technical foul. But if Mike Conley did the same thing Draymond Green does every night, he'd be out of the league. He'd be fined so much. But with Draymond Green, we hold him to a different standard. Okay, yeah, you can yell in my face, call me whatever name you want. I'm not going to do anything about it. That's just who he is, right? Oh, that's just how Draymond is. Why should that be a standard? Every single player in the league is equal in terms of, they're on a roster. Now, I know some players are better, but no one should be held to a different standard than the other guy next to him. And Adam Silver has allowed the NBA to become what it is. Kind of a crummy product in the regular season. This was probably the first time I really sat back throughout a year and said, this is not good. Like, I love the NBA. It was my first love growing up, not in college football. This past year was damn near unwatchable sometimes. Foul call after foul call after foul call, bad primetime matchups, complaining, flopping, flailing. It's all because Adam Silver allows it. And as I discussed yesterday, my lobby to Adam Silver is start fining these guys, start suspending these guys, start giving these guys technical fouls. It's in your rule book, Adam. It's in your rule book. If you flop, it's a technical foul. I never see one issued. It's in your rule book that these guys are supposed to be suspended or fined for this. I don't really see many guys suspended or fined. Well, they gave Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a slap on the wrist, $2,000. The guy makes $350 million. To put that in perspective, it's like if I made $100K a year and Fan Run Radio fined me 54 cents for something I said. I'll probably say it again if that was the rebuttal to that mistake, right? So when I make of these comments, it's Adam Silver commenting on stuff he's allowing to do. He's allowing this to happen. If he cracked down, it wouldn't be happening any longer, but he doesn't. And I don't care if they're fooling the referees or being taught to do it. They're being taught to do it, Adam, because you're allowing it. Caleb, what do you make of these comments from Adam Silver? Obviously, you've been frustrated as well with the Thunder. Many people have. What do you make of these comments real quick?
I see it as the face of the league not wanting to admit that one of his star best players is completely blatantly breaking the rules multiple times every single night. I mean, obviously he's not going to go out there and say, yeah, he should not be doing it. It's his MVP. It's his best team in his association. I don't think he's going to come out and dunk on him, but like you said, it's in his rule book, and he's sitting here saying, oh, if they're not calling, it's not a problem. It is a problem. It's in the rules that you wrote, maybe not you wrote, but you at least checked off on or this is a rule. You can't sit there and tell me that if the ref doesn't call it, it isn't. Yes, it's a technical foul. It should be 2 free throws and the ball for the other team. It's not rocket science here. Obviously, I know the commissioner. He's going to get out there. He's going to say what he's going to say. He's not going to dunk on his own product, on the best team of his association. But it's frustrating to see commissioner. And I like Adam Silver. I think he's a good commissioner. I mean, some of the things he's done I liked, and then there's things like this. I mean, you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to please everybody. And like I said, he's not going to go out there and dunk on anybody, but. This is one of his dark spots that I'm just not super keen on. And it's not watchable. Like you said, it's not watchable basketball. I don't enjoy it.
Well, let's hope tonight's Game 6 is watchable and enjoyable. It's supposed to be. Thunder and Spurs, elimination on the line for San Antonio. Can the Thunder go in and get a win, or does Wemby and the Spurs say we got one more in us? Well, when we come back, we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts. Stay right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck.